Testing, testing, check, test.
Mm-hmm. Be hard to see the... Is the camera going to pick up who's got which bowl?
Kind of difficult to tell, but we are live. Welcome back to the 2018 Canadian Outdoor Singles Championships. I'm Jake Shuknick, joined by Pat Bird this time. How you doing, Pat?
I'm good. I'm good, Jake. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. That was a beautiful bowl there from Shirley on her last bowl. It's been a long day, but a goodie. We've got the women's final in front of us. Shirley Fitzpatrick Wong against Betty Van Wallingham. So it's an all Manitoba final. You can finally see those Manitoba shirts we've been raving about. I think Shirley made a great shot there with her last one to count a couple. They had a banger of a finish, both women, in the semifinals.
Oh, they really did. I was right behind that rink, and there were three. Claire drew it twice, and then it was drawn off about 18 inches on three consecutive shots. It was amazing stuff.
Betty trailed it. Claire trailed it. It was...
And then Betty trailed it again.
Yeah, wow.
And then Claire drew within about 9 inches, but it wasn't close enough.
Yes, yes. It was. And 2020 as well, so it was right down to the wire. Very good game.
Yep. As was the game that Jim Duholke won over Everett Zveers. That was 2020 coming home, too.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. We were actually really confused at the end there because Everett gave a wave when everybody clapped, so we were like, oh, does that mean Everett won then? Because it was down to a measure, so... Bit of a confusing finish, but all BC on the men's side in the gold medal match and all Manitoba in the women's.
Everett threw two good bowls at the end of that game. He just needed to, catch an edge, and he played good meter on bowls there on both of those. Just didn't quite catch the edge that he needed.
That was kind of an interesting game too, just because they kept switching hands so much. So it was a little tricky to try to say what they were going to play.
Shadows are getting very long here at, what is it, 6:30 local time?
As always, you can grill Pat with questions on Facebook and Twitter at BCB Bulls. He will answer every question that is asked, no questions asked.
I will.
I was wondering what you'd say to that.
Yeah, you didn't tell me that.
So Shirley starting off here with a pretty good bowl.
Yeah, starting on the forehand. I think this, you probably saw more of the men's semi that was on this rink. It looked very good, didn't it? They were playing both hands pretty well. Yeah,
that was interesting. So they both favored their backhand, no matter which direction they were going, which I think was just because they played backhand better.
Okay.
It appeared that playing the opposite direction from the way they're playing now on the ditch hand side, there was a bit of a ridge. So if you get just a little bit too wide, it'll just hang. But they played both hands throughout the game. I think they both struggled a little bit to find the lines, but I've heard from players who've played on the exact same rink that it's a good quality rink. You can play both hands.
Good.
So Shirley's lying 2 here now with a very good second bowl after switching hands. It is going to be kind of difficult to tell who's who if you're not paying attention.
Very much so.
Still 2 for Shirley, but he's just coming up a little bit short. Trying to remember who came out 1 and 2 from their province.
Yeah, Shirley beat Betty twice to come out. I think they to come out first ranked. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So potential grudge match here then, really? Round 3. And that was a pretty good bounce off in. That could be 1. We have Anita Navala as the marker for this game.
Yep.
That's a measure. Too close to tell for Anita to make a judgment call. So you've been playing for the past pretty much 7 days straight, more or less. How did you find the greens out here?
Oh, good. Yeah, I mean they're running at a decent pace. There's 3 greens we used a lot of, plus a few I got a couple games in on green D. It was a little quicker, little thinner in terms of grass. So good shot by Shirley there.
Shirley's had 3 really good bowls there.
Yeah. We should be in for a very good game. Both ladies played excellent in the semi-final earlier today. But yeah, we got a couple games in on D. Yeah, I mean they're all a little bit different than each other, but yeah, it didn't take too long to get onto it really.
Good shot there from Betty.
You know, obviously a little slower in the morning, a little quicker as you get into late afternoon, and then can slow down just a bit as the sun gets a little lower. We also, we had every condition here this week, didn't we? We had 30 above for the first 2 days of the majors, and then about a 40-kilometer-hour wind came up when the front blew through, and then it was cold, and we had a few sprinkles of rain now and then, but the thunder and lightning that we sometimes get on the prairies has stayed away, and that's really helped keep things moving along.
I was actually really worried about thunder and lightning out here, to be honest.
Well, you're sitting in a metal structure here, so
yeah,
I can see why.
With that, and also timing with our new lightning policy, at first sound or sight of it, clear the field for 30 minutes. I was thinking that was going to put a real monkey wrench in the scheduling of things, but
right.
So I think Betty picked up 2 there. Yeah, that's what the scoreboard now says.
Yeah, just to set up the other games for everyone. Got men's gold medal game, Earl Luke from Richmond Lawn Bowls Club playing in BC, playing Jim Duholke from West Van Lawn Bowling Club. So all Manitoba match on the women's gold medal game, all BC match in the men's. And then over in the bronze medal game, Everett Zwiers from Ontario playing Patrick. Do you know how to pronounce Patrick's last name?
Deranlo.
Ah, very good. Yeah. For the in the men's bronze medal game, women's bronze medal game is Claire Day from Edmonton, Alberta, against Kathy Larking from Ontario.
Really nice that we can have all of the medal matches on one deck, so we can see them all. That's another really good bowl there from Shirley. Good opener from Betty too. Shaping up to be a good head. Keith Johnson giving a quick hi to Pat.
Oh, nice. Hi, Keith.
Yeah, I've been inundating Keith with questions, trying to get him to solve all of the problems for me.
Solve all your IT problems? That's good. That's good. Well, Keith's up to it, I'm sure.
Huge thanks to him. He's been putting more than his fair share of overtime this past few weeks. Ooh, just through. Grab the jack with her, though. So you were part of that group that everybody finished either 3-2 or 2-3.
I was.
Which is a pretty evenly matched group. Can't be much more even than that.
Yeah, and none of us made it past the quarters, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's right.
Huh.
That's right, yeah.
Well, you were too tired from beating each other up in the round robin, I guess. That must be it.
I think there was just a lot of good play going on in all the pools, yeah. Yeah, I've certainly seen a lot of good shots today, a lot of great matches. Not too much, big weight attacking, but a lot of good draw bowls, a lot of trail shots, a lot of rush shots, and it seems to be what's gotten people to the pointy end of the tournament here for sure.
The pointy end, I like that. Gonna call it that from now on. Get to the pointy end. But yeah, no, I haven't seen too many drives. Respot hasn't really been a factor. I know that was sort of a huge complaint from people that they don't like playing respot, but I haven't really seen it being used much at all anyway. So confusing rink boards. I didn't actually find out who was left and who was right for the men out there for BC. It's 3-1 in the gold medal match, but since they're both BC, I don't know who's who.
Well, we'll get an update on that.
Yeah.
In the ladies' bronze medal match, Claire is leading 4-1. And over there in the men's bronze, we have Everett from Ontario leading Patrick from Quebec 3-1.
quick starts to these games here. More than just singles. Great bowl there from Shirley.
Yep.
Who is this Pat Bird that is all over the place? Never heard of him, says Daryl.
Oh, Daryl.
Good old Darrell. Affectionately titled that based off of an NAC spelling on the trophy. One of the trophies for the North American Challenge that actually I'm going to have to ship down to Laguna Hills here soon. Daryl has his name on it back-to-back years. The first year it's spelled Daryl properly. The second year it's spelled Darrell.
We actually get to keep that trophy when we win it. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
that's
I didn't know that. Okay.
Mostly because since we rotate hosting with USA and Canada every other year, after the event's done in the USA this year, it'll be back in Canada, and I guess 2020 is the next time that'll be an event.
Okay. Well, the players have a couple of shout-outs for family and friends. Shirley wanted to say hi to sons Colin, Brendan, and husband Leo. And Betty wanted to say hi to her grandkids, Dalen, Finley, Jack, and Leah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're all tuning in. Gonna give a bit of a special mention to Betty. She was organizing the youth championship, so I was bombarding her with emails and shipping her packages and whatnot for the past month or two. So I don't know how much practice time she would have actually been able to have based off of all the work that goes into hosting an event. So kudos to her for getting here.
Absolutely.
And then on the flip side, Shirley is fresh off a trip to Wales, I believe, so she's been able to practice a little bit and been rolling a few bowls early. Given that they're both from the same province, I would suspect that both these players know each other very, very well at this point and know each other's strengths and weaknesses.
Yep.
I wonder if there'll be a little bit of mat movement. I know down at that end where they are, they've got the mat up. There were a few buff marks that were really bothering Jim and Everett in the semifinal, so not surprised to see the mat up a fair pace just to get over those. Excellent shot here from Betty.
Yep.
So what were the highs and lows of this week for you?
Oh gosh, well, obviously winning the pairs with partner John McDonald was a big highlight. Actually, my first time getting to majors in pairs. I'd never won provincial pairs in Alberta before.
I did not know
I think that drop from 4-bowl to 3-bowl maybe helped me out a little bit. but John played really good all week. You know, we were playing full length, and not too many teams play full length. So if you do it well, it can work. And I thought we executed our game plan pretty good. You know, you always need a few things to go your way in any tournament to get through, and a few of those things did fall our way as it turned out, and we took advantage of it. So that felt great. Yeah, and also to see our Alberta team get gold and silver in the ladies pairs and win the overall trophy, you know, it was awesome. And even the forest team didn't get a medal but came in fourth. On the ladies' side did good, and the guys, there were a few guys that like Mike O'Reilly that were here for the first time, and will do nothing but get better from the experience. Yeah.
Right on. It certainly helps when you have a all Alberta final for the women's pairs to help your chances of winning the Lady Alexander Trophy.
Yeah.
Ah, interesting. Thanks for pointing that out, Daryl. Both of these ladies will represent Canada at the NAC this year. That's right. Both Betty and Shirley are going to be heading down to Laguna Hills. You mentioned briefly that you thought 3-bowl pairs might have helped your case a little bit. I assume that means that you like 3-bowl pairs more so than 4-bowl pairs?
Yeah, a little bit more. I mean, there's probably a little more of the draw game as opposed to resting through. Looks like it's on the men's gold medal game over there. Earl Luke is on the left of the scoreboard, I believe. I
Okay.
think he's going first here, so he's up 4-1 over Jim.
Good to know. So Earl will be green on that scoreboard. Right on. Big fan of Earl's hat. Pretty sure it's glow in the dark. You'll be able to see him here all night.
Yeah, both Earl and Jim have only been playing for about 4 years.
Really?
Yeah. So
And
I mean, they're doing amazing. They've just good draw bowls.
And one of them is going to be representing Canada next year.
That's right.
So that was one to Betty there to make it 4-3. Much shorter of a end here.
Yeah, Betty and Shirley have been both bowling for quite a bit longer. Obviously, Shirley's been a international rep for Canada for years and years with the Com Games and a couple of medals at Atlantic Rim, I believe. Betty started about when I did, I think, in about 2005, it sounds like. So
Okay.
So she started with her and husband Bob, who was also here this week and played very well. Got out of our pool actually and made it to the quarters before bowing out. They both took up the game when they retired and actually still like some bowlers bowl in the winter. They're avid curlers, so they pack in the bowls for the winter, just play the summer season.
Since the end of the last game going into this game, there are a lot more leaves on the ground down at that end. I wonder if that'll have any sort of an impact if we get a longer end here. Far too many to try to pick up or avoid. Don't think Betty's a fan of that one. Well, that's interesting. The towel that Shirley's using has the old Bulls Canada logo, which is over 5 years old, so that means that towel's been around for a while. I wonder if it's good luck. Do you have any superstitions that you're willing to divulge on air?
I've probably become a lot less superstitious over the years. I don't know why that would be. Either found they didn't work or just matured a bit. I'm not sure which. But no, not really. Like I suppose like our uniform, we come with usually white and black pants. So if you're winning, you might keep the same colors on or something like that. I've seen that sometimes. I think we wore black the first day and went 1 and 2, so we wore white for the rest of the tournament. Seemed to work for us.
And somehow didn't manage to spill anything on it. Still perfectly white.
Well, I do have 2 pair of white pants that I go to the tournament. So
Shirley switched hands here now.
Yeah, probably just trying to rest the bowler, move the jack. Very close.
Just through the port there.
Yeah.
Good smooth stroke from both ladies here. Not a whole lot of bouncing when they get them away.
Close.
That could be in the count.
Got a little bit of wind coming, let's see, from this direction. So they're playing north to south here in this end. There's a little bit of wind moving from the bowlers right to left. Not too much as the sun's getting a little lower in the sky. Probably only about an hour. A bit of daylight left.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
The lights are on, and they'll be needed in a little while.
Shirley's inside. Down at the far end, bronze medal match. They're playing at a very quick clip there. Patrick Duranlo up 6-3 over Everett's Wires. Can't quite see the other scoreboards. Don't know if you can.
Claire Day up 6-2 in her bronze medal match.
And Earl Luke up 4-1. Looks like he's lying 3 in the head there right now, though. So there's a few of the players here that played in the pairs and fours as well, so they've actually been playing all week. But there's also a couple that didn't. So it'll be a little fresh, a little more.
Yeah, Jim would have. This is he didn't. He wasn't in the pairs or fours. Everett.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure, was Kathy here?
I'm just trying to look up that now, see if she was representing Ontario in anything. She was. She played in the fours.
Yeah, so it's just 2 of the 8 players on the green right now.
So Betty picked up 1 there to tie things up at 4.
Yep.
Good tight match, as can be expected in a gold medal game. So what's next on the competition calendar for you?
Oh, for me? We've got our qualifier for the Canadian Outdoor our provincial qualifier for Canadian Outdoor Championship in a couple of weeks, and going to play. If I make it through there, then the Canadian Indoor, which is in the Pacific Indoor Bowls Club in late October. Going to play the U.S. Open down in Phoenix. And then be in New Zealand for about a month, mid-November to mid-December, to play some things there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Great opening bowl there from Betty.
Yep.
So how do you keep yourself from burning out?
I don't. Yeah, you always need to take some time off, for sure. Even in, like, July, like our provincial playdowns are done mid-July.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's always good to take, a couple of weeks to get away from practicing, and it's not like I play too many tournaments. It's more a matter of taking a few breaks away from the game here and there, and I mean, in the winter, obviously, I think it's important for us to extend the season where our schedule allows it, to if the season's only 4 months for you, it's kind of makes things difficult, right?
And Daryl's still grilling you with questions with what's your favorite event that you've played over your career so far?
I don't know how the Aussies, getting back to the burnout thing, I don't know how guys like the guys and girls in Australia do it, playing, massive tournament after massive tournament, week after week after week.
Yeah, I've always wondered that, and I heard an interview with Bester, some sort of radio interview, and he said that quite often during a big tournament, if he's in the gold medal match right before the game, he'll go and watch a movie or something just to get away from the club. And I'm sure that helps on the day, I guess, to try to clear your head a little bit. But yeah, I have no idea how they avoid burnout, because it is just big tournament after big tournament, sometimes week after week. And not to mention, when you're down there, a lot of bowlers end up working at the bowls club, so you're going to be there every day, 9 to 5 or what have you anyway. So even if you're not bowling, you're still there.
Right. Shirley's coming at this with ditch weight. Very close.
Got the bowl.
Rests the bowl out. Very good shot.
So Shirley's holding 1 right now.
Yeah. Shirley's got, not that Betty won't play weight, but Shirley's got a lot of weapons in her arsenal as a skip type of player, right? A lot of different, like that was a nice ditch weight runner, not just a couple meters.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a lot of tools. Very tactically savvy as well. I was watching her. It would have been her quarterfinal match against Jan Robinson from Alberta, and it was the first half of it was absolutely brilliant. But Shirley was very good at just altering the mat and jack length a little bit here and there, very subtly, I think. And she's certainly got a lot of skills.
It's interesting because a lot of people say that leads make the best singles players, but just as you pointed out there, great bowl from Shirley.
Yeah.
You need to have sort of in your arsenal more than just the draw shot. You got to be able to drive and run on and trail and what have you. So, I'm not sure if I hold or agree with that statement that leads make the best singles players. They certainly make great draw players, but need to have more than just the draw shot in a singles game.
Yeah. It's good to have all the tools, but have the patience of a lead, I think.
The patience of a lead, yes. Well phrased. 7-1 now for Earl over Jim in the men's final. 7-2 for Claire Day. And 7-3 for Patrick. So lots of sevens. This is the only game that didn't. So Dale, do you want to clarify a little bit more? You asked what's Pat's favorite event he's played in over his career so far. Do you mean sort of the best event that he enjoys going to the most, or what is like sort of the best 3, 4, 5 day span, greatest memory, favorite memory sort of deal? For me, I'd say my favorite one that I enjoy going to is still WOBA, but favorite memory probably be the World Youth Championships, going down to Broad Beach, being the first time in Australia. That was a real eye-opening experience for me. Realized just how bad I really was. If you're from Canada, for the most part, and you do finally get a chance to play on a true and fast green, you'll really start to notice any inconsistencies with your delivery very quickly. It's a pretty good boulder from Betty, just through. Favorite event overall, team and place and greens, is what Daryl's asking. Lots of questions.
Shirley just about picking up the jack as she goes by. Got to touch her. Real good weight too, but looks like Betty's still lying one down there.
Yeah, looks like it.
Well, I suppose, boy, favorite, there's a lot of them. It's hard to name one, but I've played in a couple Australian Opens, and just the quality of the surfaces and the quality of your opponents is really great, and so I've certainly enjoyed those events. Shirley just grazing the jack once again.
Very close yet again. She's going to be using up all of Anita's spray chalk here soon. How do the long evening shadows play a part in the game? Well, I think you just sort of have to really focus a little bit more on your line. I don't know if it really should affect you too much unless your depth perception isn't the greatest. Do you find long shadows really bother you?
No. But I can see if there was, like we certainly, because the shadows are running pretty much right across the green, so, if you had a shadow, if you're looking pretty close to the, like say 3-4 meters in front of the mat and someone's moving around, matter of fact, I just saw a player kind of delay their delivery for a shadow that was a couple meters in front of the mat. So it could be something that the players will just have to either deal with or wait until that activity stops, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess it might slow you down just a little bit, and then I guess that could throw you out of your groove if you're really feeling it. But
Yeah. Betty was shot there to pull within one. Trailing Shirley 5-6.
Very close game. Approaching the half-hour mark, and everybody's at 7 or higher here.
You can probably see a little bit of the men's gold medal game on the next drink there as well, right?
Yep, that's Earl locked on the jack right away. Jim's coming down close there. Well, that's a beautiful bowl there from Jim.
Yep.
Shirley's very close to the jack again. Another toucher. Might have to start keeping track there and get another spirit shot canister on standby. I noticed in her semifinal match that Shirley brought the mat up a fair pace, and I can see the mat up here again. Not quite to the hog line, but it is up a little bit. Beautiful shot there from Betty. I think both players like to play with the mat a little bit.
Yeah, that was a great shot from Betty, probably holding 2 now.
Shirley's close again. Beautiful bowl.
Mm-hmm.
With the flop, it might.
There it goes. Just fell down.
That's got Betty asking now.
Looks pretty close.
I would expect Anita to say it's too close, but no, I guess it is. For sure, Betty's won. Just needs to arrest that bowl. Well, it's for sure one now.
Yep.
That's actually a really good bowl. That changed up the angle on Shirley nicely. I'm not sure what Shirley's going to do here. Doesn't have a lot of good position, really. Not shying away from it, though. If you're Betty, do you try to make some contact on that and chip it back? You could be lying 2 or 3 with a little jack movement.
Well, I think you could have until Shirley got behind the jack there with that last ball. Certainly that would have been an option. It was important for Shirley to get behind the jack there, I think. It'll give her a few more options on this next shot.
I think that was an intentional guard here from Betty. Trying to get in Shirley's eye.
Shirley's going to come down and take a look at this. Just to see the angle probably of where that jack's going to go if she makes contact with Betty's shot bowl.
Not that I expect her to really fire at this, but I'd be curious who has the tee. That might be close to where Anita's standing right now.
And that's what she's going to check out right now, is who does have the tee.
If the jack goes straight back, what's the situation? It would be 1 either way. 8-4 for Claire Day over Kathy Larking, and 8-3 for Patrick Duranlo over Everett Swires. 7-2 Carl Luke over Jim Duhilke. Don't think we're going to see much big weight here. Through.
Oh.
Good effort.
Yep.
Very good effort. And that'll be 1 to Betty to tie things up at 6.
Oh. Earl with a few meters on of running there, picked up the jack, and it caught on a back bowl.
I think that's his own too, so
Is
I think Earl's actually going to count out of this.
Well, it was a good shot.
He's got his towel over his face there.
He does, yeah.
Didn't quite like that.
Not sure.
So we got the Senior Triples Championships coming up here in a few weeks at the Calgary Lawn Bowling Club. What can you tell me about Calgary Lawn?
Yeah, it's a fairly well. It's an old club, but a new club. Calgary Lawn, I think, started in 1922 on a on one of the judges' back lawns, backyard, or something like that. And then they got formal greens in maybe in the early 30s, I think it was. Okay. So the club's been around for a long time, but it was in an inner city neighborhood, as are a lot of lawn bowls clubs around Canada, and. So the city wanted the area for a park, and but very graciously put up some money for a new site, combined with a seniors center that needed a new building, and so two new greens and a new clubhouse, and the clubs and its members are really looking forward to welcoming all the provinces to that event, which is it's a nice. There's only 20 players in that event, so it feels real, close. You get to know the players as opposed to majors, which is 120 players, and the greens will be great. Mm-hmm. If it doesn't rain, they will be pretty quick and pretty true and nice wide lines. Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that started on a judge's lawn or something like that back in the 1920s. I feel like almost every club started that way, whether it's the mayor or a doctor or someone just decided to have one on their front yard, and suddenly it grew. Very good bowl there from Shirley. Couple of quick chirps from team coach manager Derek Dillon on his way through. I'm sure he'll be another spectator at the senior triples. I don't think he's competing in it. Bit of a looser head here going this direction.
That's right, yeah.
Don't imagine the pace of the green would have slowed down that much from the shadows coming out.
Looks like Shirley's drawn it there.
Yeah, holding two. So Earl's fun little drive that you got to see last time there, actually he picked up 3, so he's up 10-2 now in the men's gold medal. Betty's working on her own. I don't think that's enough. Still probably 2 for Shirley, I think. So what's the plan for next year for this event? Are you going to still try to play in pairs with John and repeat, or are you going to try to play in fours first?
Oh, I haven't thought about it. I have not thought about it. But obviously we clicked real good in pairs, and this was our first year playing together.
Wow.
And looking forward to continuing to grow as a team for sure.
So beginning of a dynasty then is really what you're really saying. First year you're already on top. Wonder how many Bulls historians out there can tell us the longest win streak of a team at majors.
Surely putting another one into the head there on that last ball, so it's 2 in the look for her, it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Games are starting to close up a little bit in the bronze over there. 8-6 for Patrick over Everett, and 8-5 for Claire over Kathy. And it was just 2 for Shirley here. Ooh, we got a good question here from Susan Hill. She was here not too long ago, actually playing for Quebec. Is a drive shot a desperation shot or another tool in your box? Asking for her friend.
That's funny.
Desperation shot or tool in the box?
No, it's it can be either, I suppose.
Yeah, both and neither.
If you're drawing well, it's a tool in your box, and if you're not drawing well, it's a desperation shot.
Yeah.
I think with with respot. When you drive the jack out of play, you know where the jack's going to be spotted. So if you're an accurate driver, that can be useful, or it can at least make the other person respect that and cover the tee when the head's not all that near the tee.
I think I'm leaning more towards it being a tool more so than desperation, just because there were actually many games during the Commonwealth Games where I was sort of shaking my head, where some of our, in particular, I'm going to throw our men's triples team under their bus a little bit, where they were down 6 and we're throwing back-to-back drives to try to break it up, and I was just thinking, you're up in the game right now. You don't need to be throwing drives at that. You could just draw for a second or third shot and cut them down and still win the game. So I guess I'm more of a conservative player that way, but I think a drive is much more of a tool, more so than desperation. I think if you're in desperation mode, you should probably be trying to draw to cut them down, but I guess that is situational. If you've got
for sure.
super packed head, obviously you're not going to be able to draw it off.
Yeah, it depends on the conditions too. I mean, in Australia, if the wind picks up, drawing within a meter is not so easy.
Yeah, that's very true. Wind is such a big factor down there. I really don't think it's much of a factor here, to be honest.
Well, we've seen some good bowls here. Got pretty much all 4 bowls within mat length.
Would you dub yourself as an aggressive player or a conservative player?
I think I have probably morphed from being a draw type conservative player to a more aggressive type. Matter of fact, I played a ditch weight runner on first bowl 5 times in singles. I'm just kind of trying that out. It looked like it worked pretty good for Aaron Wilson in the Commonwealth Games. I thought, he went in just in certain situations, right? So I'm not that I'm a big hard thrower or anything like that, but if the opponent puts their first ball beside the jack and the length isn't too long, I was playing a ditch weight at it and hit the target 4 times out of 5, so it was working.
80%, pretty good.
And not that that's going to happen all the time. Obviously you can get yourself in trouble doing that, but I think we're seeing some of the young guns, like in Australia, starting to not just draw in the first bowl all the time. If the shot calls for playing that mid-weight shot, you'll see it come right out on first bowl, and not just when the score is 20-20.
I think Betty's just coming up short there.
That tactic isn't obviously for everyone, but it's good to try different things and see what works and what doesn't for you. Yeah.
A lot of it is the conditions for sure, depending on what the green will give you. Tactic I haven't tried since I was in Australia was putting the jack in the ditch on your first bowl when it's at the hog line. That was something that Maria Rigby had Priscilla and I practice for, I think, a full day.
I heard about that.
It's not something I've ever replicated ever since, but if you're on a really true green, it could be a very worthwhile tactic.
Jim's now pulled back a couple of shots, now trailing Earl.
10-4.
10-4, yep.
Looks like Patrick is having his way with Everett over there based on the head. It's only 9-6, but head looks like it's a battle over there. A struggle.
Long day for some of these players because we had tie breaks in the morning. I think 8:30 start. So this is the 4th game of the day for anyone that had to play a tie break this morning.
Or 5th if you count mini tie breaks as a as a game. I think that's still one for Shirley there, though, based on where the Bulls are here.
think we'll see them both get inside of that closest bowl.
Mm-hmm. Looks like 2. How did you find your opponents played in the singles? Were a lot of them aggressive or a lot of them conservative?
There were a lot of experienced players in my pool. John Patulli, a really good aggressive player. That his style of game is kind of bring the mat up about halfway and play the jack, not to the dot, but maybe 8 feet short of the dot, and then if you're close, then he's going to try and take it into the ditch. Steve Ogden, a real experienced player. Chris Graham, I mean, geez, it was a great pool. Had some good games with them. Needed to play a bit better myself to get through and didn't, but really enjoyed all my games. Robert Steffen and Betty's husband Bob Van Wellingham was the pool I was in. Yeah, great games.
Very tough pool.
Oh, helpful there. Betty could be in for second.
That might almost be shot, actually.
Oh, is that right?
Very close.
Okay,
not quite.
Yeah.
It's definitely second, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I'm sure Shirley would probably like to just trail that jack a little bit on the forehand, but Betty's bowl could be a little bit in the way there, and if it's tipped in, it could be shot. So, see what she chooses to do here. Playing it on the backhand. Oh, could have jack movement. Yep, she does.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Whoa, what a beautiful bowl. Wow. Kind of surprised that Betty's not going down to take a look at that. Very close head down there. Very close.
Canada's chief umpire, George Cubis, just walked by, so he's been keeping everything running very smoothly this past week.
Yes, he's been on the ball, very sharp.
George told me that he at one time played and then umpired rugby league in England.
Ah. Matt, our comms guy, was actually wondering whereabouts in the UK George was from, so that would make me think England then. George has been doing a bang-up job here. Absolutely wonderful, along with all of the other umpires too. (11-6) here in this game, with Shirley Fitzpatrick-Wong leading the way over Betty Van Wellingham. Real good opening bowl there from Shirley. Right in Terry's efficiency zone. That meter behind the jack. Great shot there from Betty. Really good way to start an end.
Jim Duholke picking up another 2 to narrow the deficit. Earl Earl now leading 10-6 in the men's gold medal game.
Mm-hmm. Good players, both of them.
Yep.
And Betty's following Shirley closely. This is very close to bowl for bowl here. I think Shirley added a little bit to this one. Just slipping through. Keith's asking, have they turned the lights on yet? If you're watching on the stream. Yes, they have. They've been on since the game started, actually. Haven't really needed them until probably right about now, though. Sun's still out, so light enough they're not necessarily needed, but good to have them going. Really good head here from both players. 2 for Shirley right now, according to Anita. So I'm looking at Harriet's golden retriever over there, and we were talking earlier about these Manitoba shirts having the buffalo or the bison on it. If provinces were to start having animals, what would Alberta's be? Rather than provincial flower.
I don't know. Maybe someone from Alberta could Twitter in a response for you.
Daryl tweeted at us yesterday or the day before saying Ontario adopted the loon as their official animal back in '94. So I guess the Ontario Looney Tunes or something like that would be Ontario. Not sure about the other provinces though.
Mountain goat?
A mountain goat. The Alberta mountain goats. I like that. Start getting mascots at these things too then. Alberta's bird is the great horned owl, according to Keith.
Well, there you go.
Oh, the Alberta great horned owls. That's
adopted as the official bird in 1977.
It's a bit of a mouthful though. The Alberta great horned owls.
Shirley picking up that end, now leading out to a 13-6 lead.
Yes. All tied up at 8s over in the women's bronze game between Claire Day and Kathy Larking. That's 10-7. Patrick Duranlo over Everett.
Yeah, the sun's pretty much gone now, so it wouldn't surprise me that the green just could slow up a touch in the next 20 minutes or so, probably.
How do you deal with that playing down in New Zealand, Australia? Because when the sun sets, it is a drastic difference in green speed.
Yeah, you know, very, very much so on the Australian greens for sure. Yeah, around 3:30, 4 p.m. some of those greens can slow down 2 or 3 seconds. Yeah, and just knowing that it's going to happen helps, because you see it and you've dealt with it on another day, and you know, probably if you see yourself coming up short, then refocusing instead of maybe aiming for the jack, focusing on a spot a meter behind or something like that can be pretty useful when the conditions change like that.
Betty's pulling up pretty short on this one here. I think Shirley's scratching her head a little bit. Kevin Dusselblom tuning in saying, "Hi Pat, can't wait to compete in just over a week." And his suggestion would be the lynx or the bighorn sheep. The Alberta lynx. I like that a little bit better.
Okay.
Alberta bighorn sheep.
Yeah, bighorn sheep. That was, yeah.
Hmm.
That's what I was trying to come up with.
You could definitely get a good logo on your shirt that way.
You could.
Could have a new logo to go with the new name change now that LBAA is officially Bulls Alberta.
It is. Earl Luke now up 12-6, and he's gone almost not quite full length with the jack. And I would say that the Bulls are slowing down a little quicker, especially coming this way in the home end, which is the direction the gentlemen are playing in right now. The ladies are going away, and Shirley with a big trail to lie 3. Key shot in this game right here.
4th bull, so important. What sort of drills, tactics do you have up your sleeve for practicing being that much more potent on your 4th bull?
I know Lachlan Ty, coach in Melbourne, Australia. He likes a drill where you get the jack, the first bull at the end, and the last bull at the end, and your opponent gets the middle 4, so that it emphasizes the importance of getting close on the first bull, and puts you obviously with your opponent then getting 4 shots, puts you in some bad situations with your last bull and playing like a 6-end match, and then switch roles with your training partner. So that's one of the drills I've heard he has for working on making the 4th bull under pressure. Yeah.
I like it. That sounds good. To anyone who's been viewing all week, you should have a novel full of drills now, because I was grilling Terry for questions on what sort of drills he was using. Daryl was jamming in. Got a couple here from you and Lachlan now, so
Yeah, good.
anybody who's been watching should be a lot of practices lined up ready to go now.
Shirley out to a 16-6 lead now, so that was an important end what we just saw there. Shirley was, it could be that it's just slowing down a bit because Betty was a bit short. Shirley made sure to reach, and then made a big trail to convert there.
Haven't even quite been playing for an hour yet, so this game's really zipping along. Good opening there from Shirley, just a mat length short.
Carter coming
You want to go get Brandon? You want to go get Brandon Watson? He's over there.
Are you going to keep covering the men's?
Yeah, if this game does happen to finish before the men's, we will switch over and keep the broadcast going with the men's final as well. That is assuming that this game keeps going the way it's going, with Shirley playing lights out here. Another beautiful bull. That's the shot. Pretty consistent there from Betty, about the same as her last. So I think I've asked this to everyone I've commentated with. Is your favorite pairs, singles, triples, fours?
I like all the forms. I'm maybe not too big on 3-bull triples, but other than that, I like really all the forms of play. They all involve something different. I was reading a book by Ian Schubeck, and he was describing the different games and who works well together. And I thought it was interesting. He said that 3-ball pairs is best played by 2 people that kind of 2 skips that see the game the same way. So that, because you're describing the shot for your partner, so it's good that you both see the game the same way. That works the best. I thought that was a really good description, because if you're if you're a lead mentality and you're describing the options to your skip, and unless you know them really well, you might be tending towards the more conservative options. Then
Right.
maybe your skip's actually wanting to hear something else, like what's that ball worth, or things like that. great shot by Shirley there to wiggle in.
That's interesting. So when you are skipping, do you prefer to have your lead, front end, vice, whatever, come in and actually tell you what to do or what shots to play, or do you normally have your mind made up and you're ready to?
I've got a pretty good picture of what the head looks like when I go down, and you're trying to factor in what's the other team going to play and where's your opportunities, where's your risks, and so yeah, I've got a pretty good idea. Sometimes when things change around a bit, or if the situation looks pretty good and we're looking for a back bowl, I'll definitely ask my lead where, give me a toe where you want me to end up at the back there to best cover what may happen. I mean our communication between me and John has been great. All year. I think we've worked really well together, and not so much. You do see the odd team that describes, where every object is on the green and things like that. And it's probably for most people it's more about, what kind of shot do you want me to play? What do you want me to reach to come through, this area with this amount of weight, and let the player visualize it and try and execute.
So Keith's asking, does Pat like respot or does Pat like burning ends?
Very close, very close. I know there's a lot of good players out there that I mean they're two different games. It's almost like our international viewers won't get this, but curling before the free guard zone rule, curling was a different game when there was no free guard zone rule, and you could get up to and peel out for an hour and a half and win the game, right? And it's different now, and it's more entertaining certainly now with more rocks in play with curling. And bowls, I mean, there's with respot, it means that you don't get that element of being 4 down with 1 end to go, and you can kill it until the opportunity comes about, right? So it's kind of sad that part of it's gone, but on the other hand, respot, I think respot. If you're drawing better than the other team and can put 2 in the head and then 1 on the dot, then the other team can't get out of dodge by making 1 shot anymore.
Right.
So the better bowls will prevail, right? So there's pluses and minuses to it.
Well, I think we're going to sub out commentators here. We're going to have Brandon
good.
Coming in. Thanks for commentating with me again, Pat.
You bet. I really enjoyed that, Jake. Everyone enjoy the rest of these 2 games. Thanks for having me.
Nice to have you. Got an umpire call here, so while they're busy measuring, we'll be swapping out. We'll be bringing in Brandon Watson to close out this broadcast. That's a very close call there. I'm not sure who I would favor in either situation there. How's it going, Brandon?
I'm good. How are you?
I am excellent. We're having a real good game here. Shirley's been playing very well, but Betty's made some very key shots as well. Excellent game. Rink next door. Looks like Earl Luke is up 13-6. Kathy Larking's pulled the comeback and is up 9-8 over Claire Day right at the moment. And then down at the far end, Patrick Duranlo's up 11-7 over Everett Wires. Lots of good bowls going on.
Yeah, a lot better day for it too.
Yeah, that's for sure. This is the first day, I want to say in about 3 or 4 days, we've been down to a t-shirt and shorts.
Yeah. Feels good. It was almost feeling like a early November kind of day here.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly not what we were hoping to see.
But it could have been worse. There was no snow. It wasn't thundering and lightning, so
Yep.
Can't complain too much. DJ, David James Smith tuning in and saying, let's go Patrick. Cheering on his Quebec teammate. So Shirley picked up another one there to get within striking distance now. 17-6. She could finish her off at any point going forward. Had a real good chuckle with Pat before the last game there. His final round robin game, he played against Alex Scott, and he threw a wrong bias, and it came into the TV rink, so everybody saw it. And so every time he walked by the booth, he was laughing and saying, stop streaming my wrong bias bowls.
So, if somebody throws a wrong bias on the live stream, how many beers do they have to buy?
Yeah, that's a good question.
That could be a pretty expensive wrong bias.
Now my question is, though, if it's for a trial bowl, does that mean you're planning it out beforehand later in the game, so that way if you actually throw it, you can say, well, I tried it out with a trial bowl?
I don't know.
17-6 here in this gold medal match. Winner gets to represent Canada at the 2019 Champion of Champions. Either way, it's going to be a Manitoban and a British Columbian. And I've heard rumors from people on Facebook telling me that both the BC lads are only in their 4th year or so. So,
Oh, that's really good.
very impressive for both of them. Hats off to both. There's a wasp out there or something that's floating around in front of the men.
I know John Bjornsson got a couple this tournament.
You know what's interesting? I guess it's actually been a Manitoban that's been representing Canada for the past few years in a row now, either on the men's side or the women's side, with Jerome Kirby, John Bjornsson.
Mm-hmm.
Manitoba does well at singles. Shirley's looking to get one close. I think she's through the head. Yeah, that's not going to stop in time. Probably 2 for Betty there right at the moment. I would say 1 for sure anyway. So you remember here, I'm looking at the stream now, there's a lot of leaves down at the other end. Do those ever actually come into play? Does it really slow down bowls enough at all, or are they small enough that it doesn't really make a difference?
This time of year, not really. Once you start getting more into that mid-September and more of the leaves start coming down, then you're looking at a change in play. Usually, we try to avoid those rinks, so we won't play into the trees. We'll play alongside them.
Oh, okay. So opposite direction sort of deal.
Yeah. Quite often, if you get a bit of wind here, the elms, they'll actually drop very, very small branches with the leaves. That causes issues, so then you have to go and start picking them all up.
I can only imagine throwing a little bit of weight and then hitting a stick and
Having it go.
ball goes flying.
Yeah.
Launched over the head.
Or redirecting 45 degrees away from what you were.
A little bit of bumper cars.
Yeah.
Bing, bing. Pinball, I guess. So you've been here pretty much every day this week. You've been watching quite a few singles matches, marking a few as well. Anything jump out at you?
To be completely honest, I haven't been able to watch a game very closely until the game I watched live streaming here with Pat Bird and Christy Graham.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little surprised how quickly the game went by, but I do know it was a bit of a tricky rink, so.
A question from Daryl. Has Brandon had a chance to meet some of his soon-to-be teammates at the NAC?
Yes, I did. I got to meet Greg. Very good fellow. I think we're going to get along quite well, so.
Very good fellow.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't heard anyone called a fellow in a while, and I love it. Greg.
Too much of there's too much Christy rubbing off on me.
Both women on their knees down here to try to measure this out. It's not very often that you see both of them get right up into it. It's not actually that far away, but like one person can easily measure, so it's just kind of strange to see both of them right up there down at green level. Given how they're both into it, I'm kind of surprised they didn't call an umpire then, if it's really that close. If they're disagreeing over anything, I'm not sure. Here come the ground sheets over on the men's final.
Oh, yeah.
Wonder if that'll be a game changer. 13-6 for Earl Luke over Jim Dohulke. Apologies if I butcher that last name. Duhulke. Kathy Larking up 12-10 over Claire Day, and Patrick's up 15-7 over Everett down at the end. Looking across the rink, I see Patrick's was locked on there till Everett just pushed him through about a meter. Looks like they're having a real battle.
Yep. Yeah, it's been a good game down there. Not, score is not really reflective, but it has been good bowling.
So now that they've attempted to measure, they're calling an umpire over, so it must be very close.
Yeah.
You can tell it's getting chilly because George Cubis has his jacket on. He was wearing a t-shirt all day and he's layered up now. Matt's saying excellent use of the word fellow, Brandon. Being consistent use of the word swell and neat. We expect you to adopt those words as well. Swell and neat and fellow.
Why not?
You'll have a very good vocabulary after that.
There we go. You know, I was kind of chuckling a little bit about these late games because backstory history of the club last year, you know, we had that light post go down on D Green, and the city came by and checked, and we had a few posts they said were in danger of doing the same thing, so they took them down. And this year they said, the city said they were going to put all these the rest of the light posts from D up onto the rest of the greens so that we had all the lights up and running. And the general consensus in the club was that probably shouldn't be an issue. There's not going to be late evening games, but we've had to use them just about every evening.
I think we've been here till probably 8, 8:30, 9 o'clock every single night for the past week straight. Won't be any late games. Lesson learned, I guess.
Yeah, no kidding.
But to be fair, with the light post that you have here, it's still pretty good coverage. I've seen much, much worse.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad they got them moved for us.
So did there not used to be this many here then? Looking around, I see what, 2, 4, 6, 8.
I think on average they had to. They found about 2 per green that had to be taken out.
Okay.
So we're only missing 1. The C green is missing 1 post, but other than that, they were able to fill all the missing ones back in.
Good opener there from Shirley. 17-8. See if Betty's got an answer. It looks like she does.
Very good answer.
And that could be it. So you've played in youth championships. You've played in forest pairs, majors, what have you. What's been your favorite event? What do you enjoy the most?
I do like the fours and pairs. It's really neat seeing all the teams in their provincial colors, provincial shirts. It's Really nice to see bowls on a big level like that in person.
Mm-hmm.
I also really liked the mixed pairs last year. Just that smaller dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was very close after that, and so it's both ways are nice. The seeing it at its biggest and grandest is wonderful, and then seeing it at a smaller level is also very nice. If I had to pick a favorite, I would probably pick juniors and U25s, or the U18s, U25s, just because similar age groups, friends across the country. Nice to see everybody again.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you on that. I really enjoyed playing in the youth event. One, it was with people your own age range, which always makes things a little more enjoyable when you're a youngster. But two, I found the competition to be incredibly fierce.
Yeah, and I like playing singles, so that's another bonus that event has going for it.
Well, thank you, Emily, for telling me how to pronounce Jim's last name. Dahoki. So I guess the L is silent then? Interesting. Dahoki. Appreciate that. Speaking of Jim, it looks like he's picked up another one, I think. Scratch that, never mind. It went to Earl. It sounds weird to say, but I really do think that the juniors, under 25 youth championships, those singles competitions, I feel like those are fiercer than outdoor singles or indoor singles or really any other singles. Just because you're against your peers and everybody wants to beat each other so badly. Like that desire to win is just so strong. And I'm not sure if I really felt that here or even last year when I was at the outdoor singles either. Yeah, everybody wants to win, but it's not that desire to try to really beat whoever you're playing just isn't quite there.
Yeah. Well, and I think I know what you mean. And then on top of that, everybody in that event, for the most part, knows each other well enough that they know some of those strengths and weaknesses that can be exploited. So makes for an interesting dynamic.
I also found in my junior days that playing bowls was really life. Like, it was everything. So my entire summer was building up to that point. And so all I could think about was bowls. All I could think about was winning the gold medal sort of deal. Now that I'm a little bit older, there's so much more to life. Like, there's work, family, what have you. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background. But when I was younger, school didn't really matter because it was summer. So there was nothing going on. You could just focus on bowls.
Yeah. Didn't have to worry about too much else.
Life was so much simpler back then. Less responsibility. So it's 17-10 here. Betty's been going on a bit of a roll here the past few ends. Not letting Shirley get off 17. Next door, Earl Luke's up 16-6. And in the bronze, we've got Kathy Larking up 12-11 over Claire Day. John Zeitman is perfectly in front of the scoreboard, so I can't see that far men's match. I can tell you Everett's at 8. Not sure what Patrick's at. Probably still 15, I think.
Yeah.
Coming up fairly short there. Shirley playing the forehand here. We'll see if she gets by Betty's. That's pretty short too.
Yeah.
I think the green speed might have slowed down just enough to really throw them off here.
Yeah, we'd probably be getting pretty close to the time where dew starts to appear on the greens. Might be getting a little wet out there.
Betty made sure she sent that one. That's a good looking bull there. Shot for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Holding 2 from the looks of things. Does playing at night affect you? Going into the night and changing lighting, I guess?
Not really. I don't mind playing in the evenings. When it gets darker, I kind of like it. It's a little different. You don't get to do it very often, so. What I find though is that all of the bowls, sort of like that brown, black, blue, green, they all kind of look the same.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit harder to tell which bowl is which, but
Really forces you to pay a little more attention.
yeah. What about yourself?
I'm not a huge fan of the dew. That actually kind of, I wouldn't say it annoys me, but it's not quite the same as playing in the rain. It's not quite the same moisture, I guess, so it's more frustrating than anything else for me. But I do like playing under the lights. It's kind of neat, but
yeah, especially if the bugs stay down too.
Yeah, that's key too. Good question there, Emma. Emma Boyd's asking, what do you think about the format this year? Will it stay the same for next year? Difficult to answer that question. So, with the changes this year, we really would like to give it, 2-3 years to see how it goes. You don't want to judge anything off of 1 year because, one off could be a fluke, or you don't really have it. It's not enough data to tell you if it was good or bad. But that being said, there were definitely some lessons learned here this year, such as likely going to need, whether it's time limits or an extra day or something to accommodate for longer games. So there will be some tweaks for sure. What those will be, I'm not sure yet. But as for the format, I anticipate that it will still be fours, pairs, and singles lumped together next year within the same week or so in that time frame. I'm assuming that's what you meant by what do you think of the format this year? As for my thoughts on it, what do I think of it? I really like it. I think that having 120 instead of 160 people for the majors is much more manageable. I think the quality of play here has been much, much better. Triples kind of watered down the field a lot, and we found there were a lot of people there who weren't quite at the same caliber of play as others. Now that it's just fours and pairs, there were much fiercer competition going on. I absolutely love the idea of having the singles either right before or right after, just because a lot of the players can stick around and compete in both. As we've seen here this week, there's been a lot of really tight games, a lot of really good games. A lot more people attended compared to previous years, I think, too. Keith Johnson sending me a quick message here since you're commentating with me. Keith's craziest match ever was Alberta versus Saskatchewan at 2015 Willowdale, where it was you, your brother, and Keith. Apparently the only person to figure out the crazy artificial green was Keith. Everybody else just sort of laughed and gave up.
Yep. Yeah, I remember there was quite an awful back out on the one hand too, right before the head. If I'm remembering correctly, it backed out almost 6 or 8 inches too, like just dropped right off, and then it would kind of go back in. So we were all missing the jack, and Keith seemed to find it.
Years of experience for Keith, I guess.
Yeah. I think I was bowling with his, what would it be? Maybe classic twos. I think I brought a set of Keith's bowls there, so he was able to kind of help me out a little bit, but that was a interesting rink.
And what about juniors format, asks Emma. Well, that will for sure need some tweaking as well. Give a little bit of rationale for why it was what it was this year. For the World Youth Championships that used to be down in Australia, you would play 2 games of singles in the morning, 2 games of mixed pairs in the afternoon, and many of our representatives sort of struggled with that because you could have 2 very exhausting singles matches in the morning and then have to go and play mixed pairs with a partner in the afternoon, and it kind of throws you for a loop because there's not many tournaments where you change formats like that. So in an effort to sort of prepare our athletes, wanted to mimic that. Timing was a bit of a bug this year, so that for sure is going to need tweaking. We are going to be putting together a bit of a working group in the fall to look at player development, and that will include things like the youth event and what sort of tournaments, practices, best practices we should be utilizing. So I can't really speculate too much about what the juniors format's going to be going forward, because a lot of that's going to depend on this working group we're going to throw together. And then, of course, recommendations from the competition committee and the board, too. So it could be similar, it could be very different. I'm not too sure yet.
Looking like Shirley is probably going to pick up a point here.
Finally get her off of 17. Betty's kept her there for quite a while. Next door, 16-6 for Earl. Further on down, 14-11 for Kathy. 17-9 for Patrick. And Shirley's right back up to bringing the mat up a fair bit there. I do love that she likes to play with the mat. I wish more players would do that. Do you bring the mat up at all when you play?
A little bit. I bring it up about 4 paces. That's generally where I'm comfortable playing. I'm not sure why. I think, to be completely honest, it started my first year at the Nationals in Kelowna at the U18s. I was very conscious about where I was putting the mat to make sure I was far enough up. So I just made sure that I was 4 paces up, and I knew that was going to be fine. That's just what I've stuck to.
Good old Kelowna. That would have been 2013, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Good 5 years ago. Time flies.
It sure does. That feels like a very long time ago.
Just an unfortunate rub there for Betty. Do you often get helicopters flying low like that?
Yes. Yeah, we're pretty used to it here, actually. We have the STARS helicopters here, which they do the air ambulance for the province, and we're kind of in direct path between the airport and the 2 hospitals, so we see it quite often.
Changed the head up a little bit.
Yeah.
One more bullet left for both Shirley and Betty. Shirley's scratching her head here. Haven't seen a lot of trips to the head from either player.
A little rub on the jack there.
Just enough to almost bury it. 18-12 in this game. Shirley's looking for the magical 3. So she can book her ticket to Australia. I think Betty's playing with a little bit of weight here. Just threw it all.
Yep.
So it's 20-6 next door. Earl is 1 point away. Interesting how both of these gold medal matches are almost neck and neck for getting close to the finish line.
Yep.
Kathy Larkin up 15-11 over Claire Day, and Patrick's up 17-9 over Everett. So almost every game here is getting pretty close to finishing at the hour-and-a-half mark.
Yeah, unless a few players get stuck on that 1 point or those 2 points.
Yeah, that can certainly happen. Getting down to measure. So I think it was 2 there to put Shirley within 1. 20-12.
Well, this will be kind of interesting. Will this be the latest closing ceremony you've ever attended?
I'm trying to think, and I want to say, I guess yes, but despite all the comments, rumors I've heard, I want to say that 10 years ago when I was playing in the juniors, it was at the St. James Club in Manitoba. Play there was the longest I've ever attended, so even though we were here till 8:30 at night some nights, not the longest I've ever been at a national championship. So yeah, to answer your question, I guess this is probably going to be the latest closing ceremony I've ever been to, but this week definitely hasn't been the longest I've been at a club at a national event before. That was a very interesting years, 10 years ago, when I was at the juniors. They cut and rolled each green between rounds. So you'd play your game of singles, wait for everyone to get off, and then they would cut and roll. So we were inside playing cards for 3 hours between games. So suffice to say, we were there very late into the night. Happy to see that practice no longer continues.
Yeah, no kidding. I've heard of, or I've seen a few clubs roll the greens maybe before games, in between games, but can't say I've ever seen somebody cut.
I'm curious how much they would have really gotten in the 3 hour span that a game could have been. Like, how quickly does grass really grow? I don't know. I don't know if they ever really had to empty the mower. Can at least say they tried really hard to make the greens as good as they could be.
Trying as hard as they could to keep that pace.
Yeah, pace was always consistent.
Yeah.
Always the exact same. So it looks like Betty's holding a couple here. Ooh, just tickled the jack. I wouldn't be surprised if Shirley comes up through the port there.
Yeah, that's what she did with her last bowl. She'd probably make good contact with the, or with Betty's bowl that's right beside the jack there. But got
a chuckle. Sarah Van Stein's asking real tough questions. Question for Daryl. How much work did he actually do at work this week? Excellent question. These are the questions that'll keep me up at night tonight. I have to think she's close again. Just inside.
Mm-hmm.
Good ball, though. Betty's got the last bullet.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's cutting the other Betty's other bowl out or not. Could be close.
For sure, we'd like to give that a roll. And that might be enough to get into the count. Good end here for Betty. Strung together a lot of good bowls. $15-11 for Kathy Larking over Claire Day. 17-12 Patrick over Everett. 20-6 in that other gold medal match between Earl and Jim. Kicking bowls. I'm not sure if it's one for Jim or one for Earl. I think it might have been one for Jim because they're still going.
Yep.
That'll make it 20-7. Gonna get the old measure out here. Two for Betty. Will Shirley concede 3 or will they put the tape to it?
Looks like they're gonna put the tape on.
I think Betty's looking for some wedges. Yeah, gonna wedge that bowl up with her bag of goodies. So 2 for sure would make it 20-14. Another one could make it 15. That could really get Betty right back into this game, give her a good chance.
That'd be a good momentum shift for Betty.
Yeah, very good swing. Not sure what the final verdict was on that.
Let's see.
It was 3.
3.
She got the measure. 2015, that is a very big momentum shift. Looks like he's kind of see-through up here.
Oh yeah, it does.
So to answer your question, Sarah, Daryl's telling me that he does great work and lots of it. You're just jealous. Both players are about equal distance behind the jack there. They've clearly made that adjustment from when the sun set and slowed the green down a little bit. Dew came out maybe. And naturally, as soon as I say that, Betty comes up full short. Gonna have to learn to keep my mouth shut. So 20 to 15. Betty's looking for 6. Shirley's looking for 1. And a very loose head here.
Mm-hmm.
Very wide open. This looks like it could be a better bowl from Shirley if she's got the legs. Sorry, from Betty. That shot itself, that'll be definitely 1 for Betty. And just kissed it, but did it go the right way? I don't think that was Shirley's bowl. I think that was Betty. So I think it's still 1 Betty right now. Everyone is jealous of Darrell. Nice to have you watching here, Sarah. Appreciate it. Keep the jabs coming for Daryl. I'll be sure to pass them along. (17-13) Patrick over Everett. Very close game down there. 15-12 for Kathy over Claire. Also a close game. 20-8 for Earl over Jim. Jim's lying 1 right now too. Not giving up without a fight. And 20-15 here in front of you.
Okay.
So I think that's another one for Betty, which would make it 20-16. Getting closer.
Yep.
Shirley might be stuck on that elusive 20 again. You know, just can't quite get over the hump for that last point.
Mm-hmm.
Hardest one to get.
We got a couple games with that, or hanging around that 20 mark, and
Mm-hmm. Both here and next door. I think you were noticing there that Betty was counting how many steps she was going up. Trying to be consistent. So Jim's still staying alive. I think he picked up another one there, would make it 20-9. Not giving up without a fight.
no.
About a meter past on her first.
Not a bad spot to be.
No, not bad at all. Shirley's first looks to be flying. Grab the jack on her way through.
Okay.
Well, that'll make both bowls a little bit closer now.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been in a situation like this where your opponent's on 20 and you're relatively close, but now every time they lie shot, technically they're lying game? How do you avoid getting nervous or thinking that?
I think that there's always that nervousness that comes with that, but that can also be a good driving force too. I mean, you just really have to focus down and concentrate on getting that 1 point, and trying to make sure you're setting yourself up to do that.
Beautiful bowl from Shirley.
Wonderful bowl.
I think Betty's hard after it. Does she have the legs?
She's close.
Just inside, but that's a really good
receiver.
place.
Yeah.
Just need to tap Shirley's bull now. And Shirley switching hands here to try to come back and reach Betty's bull. Knock it out, I would think. Try to get inside it. Get some position of her own. She's not short on this one.
No.
Not afraid of it. And tapped up Betty's right into it. Ooh. That'll change some angles up and...
Yep. Kind of hard to see from here, but...
Still definitely one for Shirley, but now I think Betty just needs to crash onto that bull that Shirley tipped in. Get a bit of a double combination.
Yeah, yep. Jack doesn't have to move very much.
No, just needs to squirt a little bit. Betty's throwing with a little bit of weight here. And she got it.
She does it, but...
I don't think that it's enough. I think it's still one to Shirley. Yep, they're shaking hands. So that'll be 21-16. Shirley Fitzpatrick-Wong with the win. So the other gold medal match, which is right next door, has Jim on the mat. Got the bowl he was looking for, I think. So it's 20-9 for Earl over Jim in the men's final. Earl just looking for that ever elusive one as well. And that's a pretty close good bowl there. It's probably shot. Jim's going to come down and take a look. It's probably a good idea to see just how far away you are, if Earl is in fact sitting one or not.
Especially when it's dark like this.
$17-14. Kathy's up over Claire Day right now. Yeah, that's quite the glare on the scoreboard down
kidding.
there.
I think that's a 19.
19-13 for Patrick over Everett.
That's what it's looking like. Well, that glare's really awful.
Yeah, holy
I can't
smokes.
see that at all.
Not at all. Yeah, it is 19.
It's 19. Yeah.
Just needed Patrick to stand just in front of the glare so we could see it. Wow. So every game here is getting close to the finish line. 17-13, 17-14. Or sorry, 19-13, 17-14, and 20-9. Many of us are watching the bronze. If you could continue the feed, that would be awesome, says Susan Hill from Quebec. Well, yeah, we can certainly keep it going. You might not be able to get the greatest of angles down at bronze all the way at the opposite end of the green, but oh, Jim, what a draw. What a beauty. Not going down without a fight. Earl has last bowl here. We'll see if he can draw it off, chip it through. Heather Battles watching all the way down from New Zealand, saying well done, Shirley. Earl on the mat here. I think he might be a little bit nervous. He's taking quite a few little steps, little repositions. He's watching it intently.
I'm not sure if he likes it.
I don't think so.
Oh.
just about. So it is 1 for Jim, which will make it 20-10. So 20-10. Earl's up over Jim.
That trend continues. There could be a lot of game left.
Mm-hmm. So Shirley wasn't the only one who was stuck on 20 for a little while. Jim's got the mat up right about where the bulls and jack were before. Looks to be about a... Well, I guess that's actually a short, relatively short jack. Earl's going to take a walk down and see just how far over it is.
Yeah, that's an umpire.
Mm-hmm.
Thought it was going to come to that.
So Susan Hill asked us earlier on, is a drive shot a desperation shot or another tool in your box? And DJ saying that depends if the person performing knows how to drive. A draw will never get you in the same trouble as a missed drive. That's valid. Drive can definitely get into a lot more trouble than a draw usually does. Good answer, DJ.
I think it's definitely a bit of both. I mean, there's a lot of ends, or there's some ends where you have to throw a drive just simply to try and clear as many things out as you can and hope that you get something out of it. And then there's some times where there's a fairly easy pick for a number of points, in which case I wouldn't really call that a desperation shot. But
yeah, I feel like in 4-bull pairs and 3-bull triples that your skip is probably just driving to clear a bunch of clutter up front.
Yep.
Part of the reason why I'm not a fan of those two formats, specifically for that reason. Great opening bull there from Jim. So another player is on the ever elusive 20. Patrick is at 20 against Everett in the bronze medal match. 2013. Jim here has come alive.
yeah, he's really found the green.
18-14 for Kathy Larking over Claire Day. Bit of a whoops from Earl there. Wow. Playing this long into the day, this late at night might be getting to him, but could also be the fact that he's stuck on 20. Bit of a mental game here now. Jim's dropped one short.
Yeah.
Getting close to the 2-hour mark. And Earl's dropped another one short. I think that it's a bit of a mental block here right now. At what point do you start to think about just throwing drives when all you need is that one last point? See if you can drive the jack into the ditch or drive bulls off, grab the jack on your way through. Because I think it's been about 3 or 4 ends now where Jim's been counting and Earl's just been stuck on 20 or 19 or whatever he's been at. And once more here, Jim drops a short one, but he's flying 2. Earl has 1 left to come. I would have to think it's starting to be that time where
you start playing a bit more aggressively.
Start playing real aggressive at this because you have last bowl. You also have the best back.
Yep.
Based off of your 2 of your 3, your draw is not really there. I think I'd be starting to pull the drive out of that toolbox. Not necessarily in desperation here, but more as a...
Oh, the drive's starting to look like a higher percentage shot. It's working its way up in this particular case rather than...
Yeah, and he's throwing a drive. Here we go.
Grabbed it. And he
binged it. That's the game.
So that's it.
What a way to win. Great shot there, Earl. What a way to finish this game. 21-10. Bazinga.
Really good foresight there, Jake. Couldn't have called it better.
Well, I think that's the only time in my commentating history where I've actually been able to call a shot like that before it happened. Normally it would be the exact opposite, and you'd probably end up throwing the wrong bias way short or something like that. So it's 18-14 in the women's game over there. I might actually climb some scaffolding, see if we can reposition some cameras, zoom in a little bit so you can see it better.
Sure, I can go take care of the other one.
There we go, and now we can catch some bronze medal action. (19-14) Kathy over Claire Day. 20-16 now for Patrick over Everett. Claire Day on the mat, and you can see the first bowl from Kathy there. Looks like Claire's coming up well short here now. So Kathy's looking for 2 to seal the game here. Patrick's looking for 1. Patrick's got the yellow bulls down on the far rink. He's lying that one that he needs right now. And I think Kathy's lying 2 now after that bull comes to rest. Yep. Beautiful bull there from Claire Day.
Bull.
Keeping her hopes alive. 19-14. Kathy didn't like that one at all. She turned around right away. Knew she was well narrow. Weight's not bad on that, though.
Oh. Good bowl there from Patrick.
We'll see if Claire can replicate. Coming up fairly short there. I don't know if that's in the count. Everett's walking down to check out his game. Claire's lying 1 for sure, maybe 2. Kathy's throwing at it. Missed it. Big chance here for Claire to either draw for 2 or draw for 3. I'm not quite sure how many she's holding.
Okay. That helps out a bit. John just indicated it was, John Siteman just indicated it was a 1 for sure measure for the second, so.
So chance here then for Claire that she could draw for 3 depending on how the measure goes. That would really get her back into this game. She's chasing it down. That should be it if the other one's a measure.
That probably worked its way in there.
If the other one's a measure, that's got to be in. So 2 for
Yeah.
sure, probably. Measure for 3, 1914 would make it 1916 or 1917. So here we go, Everett's last bowl of the end down on the far rink.
See what he does with it.
I believe Patrick's lying game.
Yeah. I think the jack's in a tricky position to get at right now. I think it's just about resting on Patrick's back
yellow
bowl
bowl.
there, yeah.
Patrick has the yellow bowls there on that far rink. Everett's chasing this one down. Crashing on a short bowl, so that's the bronze for Patrick. So this is in fact the last game, and I think John is signaling 3. Which would make it 1917 if that is the case. It is.
That game's coming pretty close.
1917 for Ontario over Alberta. Claire's playing a pretty short jack. Medium short. Not a bad opening bowl there from Claire. Past the jack is always good. What a beautiful bowl there from Kathy. Wonder if that was foresight on Claire's part. Now she just needs to tap it back to her first. Any sort of contact. I think she's wide and around it.
Yeah. She's got better position now, though.
Mm-hmm.
Or closer position, at least.
And Kathy definitely needs to get something past the jack here. Something behind.
She finds...
Well, that's
Okay.
helpful, but also not as great of a
Yeah.
position as it could have been. So Claire is for sure going to be looking to make contact on that front bowl. I think she's just outside again. So again now, I still think that Kathy needs a back bowl here.
Yep.
You can draw to it with your last one for the win if Claire misses, so I think you got to get some protection. Don't want to make that a bigger target.
No, and you don't want to give her that possibility for a couple here.
Mm-hmm. She's coming up well short here on this. I think she's throwing a guard. I don't think I like that strategy at all. At the
That's a hard thing to play properly.
At the very least, at this stage, if you're not going to put in a back bowl, I would think that maybe you would draw for 2. Try to win the game here. So Kathy's coming down to take a look. She just needs to draw for 2, and she has a fair bit of space to do it, probably about a meter. Meter on either side of the jack will get her the win. That being said, it was her very first bowl that she threw that toucher.
Mm-hmm.
Curious how good her draw weight will be here. Room for error, but you definitely don't want to end up making any sort of contact on your bowl. You can end up going down 2 or 3.
Yep.
Talking with Steve McCarahan now.
We'll see what she does here.
Yeah, we'll see what Steve has told her. I'm not sure what sort of advice you could really be giving her here. I guess either forehand or backhand, because the draw is the only thing you have to do here. You just have to draw to it. Not too sure what strategy would have been here, or what sort of advice it could have been.
That looks like
Looks
a
like
good draw
that's
to
a
me.
very good draw. That should be the game.
Yep.
21-17. Kathy Larkin has taken the bronze over Claire Day. So that will be the end of the Outdoor Singles Championships. We are done here, folks. Thanks so much for commentating with me again, Brandon. Really appreciate that.
Sure. Thank you.
All right. Until the next time we stream, have a good night, everybody.
Yeah.